Welcome to Global Lava. This is Darren Ng. I'm the new Executive Director of Lava, and this, I think, is our third edition now of Global Lava since I've come on board. Our Global Lava team is doing a fantastic job creating panels from all over the world. Today's Latin America, the last two we've done is from Europe and Africa. Today, our guests, I think Ingrid is in Mexico City, our moderator. Maria is in Guatemala City. Claire is in Argentina, and Noramay is all the way from Los Angeles. So I'd like to just introduce you to Lava if you don't know Lava yet. We are a professional association supporting the ecosystem of the venture startup space here in Los Angeles. I see it as a giant mesh network of all these little sub-communities, and our role is to help facilitate communication, collaboration, and deal making between each of the nodes, whether it's venture and angels, kind of centered around them, or it's, in this case, it's startups from different parts of LA that are looking to do investments or deployments in Latin America. And there are many countries, in fact, there's 20 countries in Latin America that they can deploy into. We have some other upcoming events. We have many other communities. We have Lava Bio, which is biotech, medtech, et cetera. We have esports and gaming. We have Women in Lava. And in fact, today's panel should be a Women in Lava panel also, because it's an all women panel, which is pretty exciting too. I will, only one other thing I really want to talk about is the upcoming Meet the VC event. If you are an entrepreneur and you're joining us today and you are seeking funding and you're looking to understand better the landscape of investors and investment opportunities, go and sign up for our Meet the VC event coming up in late September. I believe we're moving the date to September 29th. And you'll get a chance to meet with a whole host of VCs who will actually pitch to you. You don't get to pitch to them, but they get to pitch to you. So go ahead and on the website, lava.org, and check that out. And then without further ado, I'll skip the history of Lava and get right into it because we have a fantastic panel. I would like to recognize Michael and Sharon, our two co-chairs of the Lava, Global Lava community. And I'm asking them to turn their cameras back on. They should be able to do that themselves. Here they are. Thank you guys for putting on today's event and being such a robust community. One last plug I'll put out there is if you're interested in sponsoring any of our events, we'd be happy to have you. Feel free to contact me or Sharon or Michael about sponsoring Global Lava, or myself for sponsoring Lava as a whole. Thank you all. I'm going to depart and I'll be in the background.
Thanks, Darren. So this is Sharon. I just wanted to say just a few words. I work for the Grenoble area and the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region in France. It's a very high-tech hotbed, and I help people to understand opportunities to do business there, and I also help people with their network when they're coming from those areas here in Los Angeles. So I'm the co-chair of Global Lava. I'd like to thank Michael for doing the heavy lifting on this one. I just wanted to encourage everyone to join Lava at lava.org, and also join the LinkedIn groups. There's the Los Angeles Venture Association LinkedIn group, and there's a Global Lava page as well on LinkedIn. So enjoy, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, doing the heavy lifting was no pain. I've lived and worked in Latin America. I think more than any other region in the country, we have a connection here in Los Angeles and California, and even U.S. wide. So I just want to welcome everyone to this month's panel. We've done the EU and UK, and the second one we did was Africa, which has 7 of the top 10 fastest growing markets in the world. Check out the pages on lava.org. We'll have more of these on Middle East, North Africa, Canada, Asia, Southeast Asia, etc. So, this is not to be biased, but this is probably my favorite one that we're going to do. There's so many reasons to expand to Latin America. We have the socio-cultural similarities. Every major metropolitan here in the United States has a reservoir of experts who are passionate about business and everything Latinx. We have some really great free trade agreements that not only deal with tariffs and taxes and things, but they also provide protection and guarantees that you're not going to find in other regions of the world. And we also have the new USMCA, the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, which is pretty exciting as well. Latin America has developed markets like Chile and Argentina and Colombia. And it's pretty exciting to look at some of the other ones like Guatemala, which is by far the largest in Central America. And some of the cannabis policy changes that are going on in Uruguay. Nobody really thinks of them, but a lot of things to be excited about. I think more than anything, having lived there and worked there, it's just fun to do business with Latinos. I think they do things for the right reason, and certainly same thing with the way they do business. So today we're going to go through a format addressing three things. One is the opportunities that exist there for companies or investors who are supporting companies in their growth strategy and growth trajectory. And then we're going to talk about with whom to partner and how to partner with them and what are some of the strategies and methodologies of making that market entry. And of course, the finance and funding aspect will be the third. So we have panelists from Argentina, Uruguay, Mexico, and Los Angeles. Thank you, Noramay, for being our Angelino representative. And I know she's going to introduce herself, but she's very understated, and humility that comes with maybe having master's degrees from MIT. And as I said earlier, it's an understatement to call her a leader here in the Los Angeles ecosystem. So thanks for lending your experience and expertise. So with that, I will introduce Ingrid, who will be the moderator. I'll just start by saying I was communicating via email with someone from the United States State Department, and they noticed that we were doing something, and they were emphatic about saying, I'm so glad you're working with Ingrid. So when someone from the State Department in DC already knows who Ingrid is in Mexico, I think that says a lot. So in addition to being a CEO of her own trade company, she's the senator to Mexico for the World Business Angels Investment Forum. And she's also the national chapter president for the Organization for Women in International Trade. So with that, I'll raise my Argentine Malbec. It is a happy hour, and I'll turn it over to you, Ingrid. Thank you.
And here you go. You hear me, right? Thank you very much, Michael, for the invitation. I'm very pleased and I'm very happy to share the panel with three amazing women, and I'm pretty sure that we share this passion, for women empowerment, to invest specifically in women. That is one of the things that I love the most to do, because it's not a smart thing to do, but it's, the multiplier effect that we cause on it is amazing. So yeah, thank you very much for the invitation again. And I really like to ask you ladies if you want to introduce yourselves before to start the conversation. And it's a pleasure for me to meet you here, to share with you this panel. So if you want to start, Noramay, please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Noramay Cadena. I was born in Mexico, in Colima, raised in Los Angeles, and I'm an engineer turned investor. I spent over a decade in the aerospace industry, and then found my way into venture as the perfect cross-section between technology, innovation, and creating opportunity, which is what I really love to do. So 5 years ago, I launched a fund with two partners to invest in early stage founders building tech you can touch. We've made 22 investments globally, including in companies doing business across Latin America.
Thank you very much. An amazing career. I'm pretty sure that also, the potential that in Latin America you can find in terms of these projects. It's a very innovative region. It's a very creative, with a lot of talent, young people, and that's amazing. We're gonna talk about this more during the webinar. So Maria, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hi. Yes, my name is Maria Sagi. I'm from Guatemala in Central America. I studied here computer science, but I was lucky enough to get my MBA in the US. And since 30 years ago, I've been trying to help to put together a lot of the technology projects in the region. Right now, one of the best known projects that we have started 10 years ago when we put together the Silicon Valley here in Guatemala, and we are handling very big businesses and opportunities throughout the region and in the United States, especially with our collaborators in IBA. So we are happy to be here and to share our experience in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Thank you for the invitation.
An amazing region. I have also had the opportunity to work closely with entrepreneurs in Guatemala, and they have even, gotten prizes in regions such as Middle East, and it's as well amazing the work that they are doing. I have very good friends there too. So, and last but not least, Claire, if you want to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Claire. I'm originally from California, but I'm married to an Argentine, and we've been living here in Buenos Aires for about 10 years now, maybe a little bit more. I am an investor with Magma Partners. We're a seed stage VC fund in Latin America. We've been investing since 2014 and have done about 75 seed stage investments. I got my start, I was an early employee at Twitter, and then spent about 5 years angel investing before I transitioned into VC. And at Magma, we're launching an initiative to promote female founders in LATAM. That's really my passion, is raising up female founders. So it's really, really especially wonderful to be on a panel tonight that is all women, and yet it's not about diversity and inclusion. I love it.
Exactly. If there is one point that get us all together here is that one specifically, right? And it's the opportunity that we have in Latin America to do this, and the passion that we put on this. So, and in terms of talking, Jamor, getting into the topic this afternoon, in terms of opportunities for investors, but also for companies based there in this, how do you see the region? How do you see your countries for sure, but also other countries with the ones you have been working with? I mean, there are opportunities to start creating a business, expanding their businesses. That is a very important question that I guess our audience really like to understand from you. If you want in the same order, Noramay?
Sure.
Or we change?
I'm happy to start.
Yeah.
My team, my team was particularly interested in Latin America, where we believe that infrastructure improvements are triggering opportunities in both enterprise and consumer hardware. Now, our team specifically was investing in this tech you can touch or hardware manufacturing. But we made 2 investments in this space, one in a smart home IoT company based in Mexico, and the other in an intelligent platform for energy storage based in the Bay Area with customers across Latin America. So, the one in the Bay Area specifically is a female founder from Guatemala. So Guatemalan American, Maria, I wonder if you know her. And they design, manufacture, and service energy storage systems that provide this critical infrastructure in the telecom industry. Company's doing great. They've had incredible growth. They raised a Series A from a strategic partner, and will go out and raise a Series B soon. I've also seen interesting companies in the mobility space. And if you look at the LAVCA reports, they talk about opportunities in healthcare, education, and logistics. I'm part of this We Invest WhatsApp group. Any ladies here also part of that group? Yeah, I recognize names. So there's a very fancy Google sheet going around tracking what all the women are investing in, and being the engineer that I am, I pulled some data. So there are about 100 women in the group, about 215 or 17 deals reported so far that the women in the group have directly invested in. So top is, as you might guess, fintech. Fintech represented 18% of the investments. EdTech, education tech represented 7%. And then we had SaaS, marketplace, healthcare, and then a bunch of stuff tied below that. So those are the interesting things I'm seeing.
The ones you are working with. Yeah, education nowadays and all that is related to marketplaces. For example, here I got the opportunity as well to invest in one marketplace led by a woman, and I can say that they are growing quickly. But it's just, you know, they just need this I call it, you know, to put it like this, and then it's growing like the foam. So it's amazing. And in five words that maybe we can summarize that is like fintech, education, healthcare, infrastructure, and which is the other sector, Noramay? More than those four? Education, fintech,
Yeah.
healthcare,
Infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Yep.
The more like the ones you have found that there are opportunities, right? It's important to know that. And what about Guatemala, Maria? And what about your experience there?
Well, in general, in Central America and Latin America, yes, we do love the high end in terms of fintechs, and that's where we have made a lot of money. To be honest with you guys, we have received money even from PayPal, invested in our countries in these terms, in apps and things that are very sophisticated. But I was just recently in a TV interview, and we were talking about also creativity, the orange economy that they called. The orange economy is a term, and in Spanish is very usual. Ingrid, pero in English it's kind of complicated to explain, but it's everything that has to do with creativity. And we have people in these countries that are so creative, guys, in terms of developing games, in terms of developing pictures. I mean, they're incredible. And in Mexico too, remember that we shared these stories from all Central America. So I do think that we do have some investment opportunities that are very sophisticated and are part of ecosystems like the ones we have in the Silicon Valley here in Guatemala. But there are also other type of, like Noramay was saying, that we should also take into account, okay, that are on the other end and are providing solutions that are very needed, especially in this type of situation we're living under the pandemic, okay? Maybe it wasn't valid 6 years ago, but now things have changed. So please take also that into account. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And actually, yes, the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, launched a contest for Latin America for the development of and it's pretty true. What we have the most here, I guess, is creativity. We are a very resilient region as a region, and then, you know, these emotions and passion and all mixed together get that like wow, that result now in terms of new developments. And what about you, Claire? What could you tell us about this?
So I think I would, first of all, build off of that point of resilience. You know, in Argentina, we are in an economic crisis. And a couple of days ago, I went to a pharmacy and I ran into an old friend, and I was chatting with him about some of the changes that we've been faced with because of the crisis. We were in an economic crisis, and now we have a pandemic, and so it has just exacerbated things. And, you know, he says to me, well, we Argentines, we are experts at crisis. And I find it so real and so true. And it's something that I hear a lot. I grew up in California. I did not grow up here. And just the incredible resilience of some of the founders that I have seen over the last some years of living here and funding them has really been extraordinary. And so I think when you think about investment opportunities in Latin America, I see two things. I see extraordinary resilience, and then I also see incredible economic arbitrage opportunities, right? So from an investor's perspective, the fact that I can get into an incredible fintech for a new women's bank in Central America right now, and I can get in an evaluation at less than half at what she will then raise in a few months from a US investor is stunning. And this happens to us again and again and again as investors here. And it requires that you sometimes know the culture, you know a little bit more about the founders, so that you can spot something that maybe someone in Silicon Valley cannot spot. But it's astounding some of the opportunities you can find down here as a result. And I would also say from the female founder perspective, I'm really passionate about promoting female founders. And some of the research I did this year in an article I did in TechCrunch really showed that despite the fact that Latin America has fewer female investing partners than any other region in the globe, we are actually investing more into female founders. So in terms of dollars, in 2019, we were at 19% versus the US is only investing 14% of its VC dollars into female founders. And one of the reasons for that is fintech. And fintech is pretty interesting in Latin America. We have up to 5x more, we're saying, female founders than in the rest of the world in fintech companies. So, you know, these are just some of kind of the opportunities that are here, but they are real. They're real.
But they're real. Yeah. It's just a matter to get connected, and it's just a matter to find the right way to enter into the markets and to know about those opportunities. And that is exactly the beginning of my second point, is how can you get together with those opportunities, or how can you get an approach, or how can you get an easy market entry according to your experience and according to what you have done it. So now we start with Maria, and then with Claire, and then with Noramay.
Okay, that's an easy for me.
We're gonna change a little bit the dynamics here.
No, we have worked very much, Ingrid, here to put together an ecosystem to make that easier. That is why we develop these type of places where you can have incubators, accelerators, maker spaces. You can have seats. We have filters so that we can make sure that if Claire wants to invest, she's not going to get into trouble and everything. We have lawyers. The government is sitting there so that they don't complain about anything. So it's very important. It's happening in all over Latin America, is developing really what the ecosystem should be for that to happen. That's why we work a lot in what we call innovation hubs, which are places, some of them are very big. For example, the one that we have, it costed like $20 million, okay? It's not a small one. We have also one in Honduras. So, but there are also small hubs that are like a cafe somewhere in Antigua, Guatemala, where everything is happening in technology. And those are the places that we know where they are already. And we can make sure that you can access via the right connections and with all the safety that you need in all type of situations for working in another environment. But we are used to that, and we've been doing it for 10 years. So I guess by now we almost know what we're doing, okay?
That's perfect. I appreciate. Thank you very much. And what about you, Noramay?
So I'm in Los Angeles. I'm not on the ground in Latin America, but I'm also a big ecosystem person. You know, I saw firsthand the value that our innovation lab here in Los Angeles brought to our founders, and even to teams and entrepreneurs we didn't invest in, right? That network effect was critical. So I think in particular, organizations that are networked across various countries make the best partners. And I think about my friend, Rob Bryan, who may or may not be in the audience, with Growth Hacks and his network across many countries. And so I think those types of folks make the best partners, people who are leading with empathy, with trust, and folks who have the community mindset and want to do the right thing for founders.
Absolutely. And you know what? To have a local partner, it's very important. It's very important because at the end of the day, it's going to help you on how to navigate sometimes, you know, with the legal things or the procedures or the state, because at the end of the day, I can talk on behalf of Mexico. And here, for example, every single state has different regulations in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of investment. So you might need to find the right local partner in order to make it happen. Otherwise, it turns complicated. So what about your experience, Claire?
I will say, so one of the things that I'm kind of been really encouraging some of my friends in the past couple of years is having people not start thinking that investing in Latin America is too complicated, because it really isn't. In the sense that, you know, yes, there are regional differences, there are regulatory differences, and that's why I'm not starting a fintech, because I'm going to let those fintech founders deal with those regulatory differences. But in terms of being an investor, you're pretty much looking at a US structure. And as a founder in Latin America, most founders are pretty much all going for US structures that US VCs and US angels and European angels and European VCs are very comfortable with. And so I feel like in the last couple of years, you know, when I have brought a great deal to a friend who has maybe never done a deal in Latin America before, she has said something like, oh no, you know, this sounds weird. And then as soon as you start saying Delaware, everything gets calm again. So I would just encourage folks to realize that investing, the actual process, the logistics of it, is pretty much the same as what you've already done in the US many times over.
Yeah, and actually, when we, it's so funny because at the end of the day, you know, some of our that we have had, they think that doing business in Latin America or invest in Latin America is quite easy. I say, no, but you are very warm and you are very, you know, open, and you say yes to everything. Of course, we say yes, but we don't say when, right? And sometimes that is a difficult, you know, this is a difficult part to explain or to understand the other side. Because if I say yes, it's yes now, okay, where I'm gonna sign, right? But after it's like, okay, you told me yes, but then it's when. So that is specifically why I say that it's very important to lead and to walk up, to work with a local partner. It's gonna tell you how to make it happen. That they have, because it's very important in Latin American markets to have contacts. Right, because sometimes if you have contacts, for example, I will put an example. We receive an investment deck the day before yesterday. It is a Mexican company and a very creative company. They create, well, it's like, wow, the solution that they have to fight COVID. And I'm the narrative of World Business Association. I just put it on the group, on the WhatsApp group, and we already received 4 proposals. And it's like amazing, but it's just because I'm part of this group. Could you imagine? I mean, they came to me, and when I read it, I was like, wow, I love this proposal. I will just share it. I share it now. You know, there are two VCs that they are already evaluating the proposal. So, and the other 2 is like, okay, we're gonna discuss this more because we have these questions and these questions and these questions. But it's like, it's very powerful. The networks are very powerful. And coming and coming from these networks, you know, or coming from that perspective, it's like, how do you see that companies in US that don't have those connections can get into them? I know that it's $1 million question, but you know, maybe some recommendations are going to be useful for somebody here that is listening to us. So up to you ladies, who has the answer?
If I can comment, I love networks, okay? I've been putting together networks for 30 years, okay? And people didn't understand at the beginning what I was doing. You should look at my LinkedIn right now, okay? I'm surprised that I have so many friends, okay? I think you should have networks and teach kids to have networks. For example, all of my students have to have a LinkedIn page, and if they better be a very good LinkedIn page, okay? Because I want them to have connections and good connections and know how to project. We love to do networking. And I learned a new word in the US. It's a synergy thing, that you sit down and do events and you invite Claire and this and that. And that's the way you do it, but you do it for 10 years. And when that happens, like Noramay was saying, we have an ecosystem and people, but we have to teach them to be that, because people in Latin America are very shy English. They don't want to talk to people. They don't want to give their phones. They are so ashamed of saying what they are good at. And that's one of the things that I learned in the US. You have to be confident and assertive, at least try to say what you do and what you want to do. But that's very important to teach our youngsters right now. And I think we did a very good job, too much of a good job, because now we can stop them from talking, okay? But that's the way we do it here, and it's working for us, and I hope it can help you guys too.
Thank you. I agree with you that in Latin America, we are still like thinking over, that thinking too much on, should I get in contact with or not? What I say to my mentees and what I say to my, because I also lead the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs in Mexico, that is the White House initiative. Every single time, the first class that I say to them is like, you should do it. It doesn't matter if he's not going to answer to you. It doesn't matter. You just will do it. You just have to do it. And once you do it, you will see. Because at the end of the day, if you are scared, at the end of the day, you are scared just about to be scared. It's like, it's not a matter of just do it. Jump on the river. And yeah, that's for sure something that we might need to work on, or we are maybe working on, no? Because there are also many entrepreneurs and many people here that's like, okay, I'm just gonna jump, I'm just gonna take this opportunity and we'll see what's gonna happen. It's not failing, because now this is like another discussion maybe, because there is an institute for failure already. And at the end of the day, what they teach you there is like, it doesn't matter. So you're going to learn from the experience. And that's the most important part. So what about you, Claire? I know that you want to comment about this.
I'm forgetting the initial question. We were talking about networking and how you find those connections in. Is that right?
Yeah. And how do you get into this network if you don't have any contact here and if you are interested in the region, for example?
Sure. I mean, if you're interested in terms of becoming an investor, it is similar to the US, where probably the easiest way is to just become a limited partner in a fund that already has the connections. That would be sort of the fastest way if you just have capital and you want to get into funds. If you want to be investing on, yourself, if you want to be directly involved, then I would agree with what Maria is saying of looking into those innovation hubs in a city, or those accelerators are the earliest. Those are the best ways to get in as early as possible. If you really want to be personally involved, you really want to be writing those checks individually, and you want to be mentoring those founders. And a lot of times you'll see a lot of those innovation hubs also, if they're not formalized, they are popping up around business schools a lot of times, around entrepreneurship programs in local business schools. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would add to those recommendations to get in contact with the economic development agencies, because they have all the contacts, in terms of regulation, in terms of entrepreneurship, or maybe ecosystems like that, and how do those ecosystems work in the local market. Because at the end of the day, at least in Mexico, the Entrepreneurship Institute in Oaxaca works in a different way than in Veracruz or in Puebla or in different. So yeah, it's also to be hands on hands with economic development agencies and municipalities sometimes. So what you share with us about getting to these connections?
You got cut off, but were you asking me? Yeah, okay. When we made our first...
You got me now?
I think so. When we made our first investment, we used a group in the US that we know does cross-border investing. And so we asked them for feedback and a recommendation when we were just dipping our toe in the water. Now, since then, we're a lot more comfortable at reaching out to folks who are in various countries and trying to get a sense for what they're investing in and what they're saying. So now we're working directly. When we first started, it was easier to work with other folks in the US and just figure out what are you seeing, what are some of the challenges and opportunities.
And talking about this, I remember, for example, with the State Department, they got a project that it's called Young Leaders of the Americas Initiative. And people from Latin America are going to US to a specific, different organizations, associations, private companies. And they started working and getting these connections together. So the local companies accept Latin American people, to be working there for free for 1 month or so. And then they create something that they call reverse exchange. And then it's the turn, you know, from American people to come to Latin America and to start developing projects together. And believe me, they have been, for example, I remember a guy from Brazil, and he was practicing, he was doing an exchange with a language school in San Diego, and now they together open more schools, more like locations in Brazil. I mean, that it was an investment, you know, it was a joint venture, an amazing case, and now they are growing quickly, because at the end of the day, it's just a matter to make this connection, and then it's like everything is gonna, oh no. And talking about investment, you know, because at the end of the day, if you want to be international, if you want to expand operations, if you want to have presence abroad, you need funds and you need investment. So what have you done in that case, ladies? How you support companies, or do you offer any kind of funds, you know, any kind of money to the companies that are approaching you to expand operation, and it's more to other projects? So who wants to start?
I can start here. So, you know, we did make investments in global companies. I think there are a few forces working in favor of companies across Latin America. You know, the first one is Latino investors in the US are organizing, right? The Latinx VC organization launched in late 2019 with a mission to grow the number of Latinos in venture in the US, to do a better job of sharing deals, and to do a better job of helping allocate capital to funds led by Latinos. And so one example of this at work is that, you know, I recently met a founder in the mobility space. I really liked what they were working on, but we were not deploying capital. So I introduced the founder to a few other Latino investors I know. One of them ended up investing and brought another Latino investor along. And so at the end of the day, they got investment, Mexican company, US investors. And that is, you know, that is the power of the small Latino network. So that is one. Secondly, I'm starting to see the micro VC revolution that we've seen in the US. Right? We've seen the number of micro VCs with less than 100 million AUM, just about double every year for the last couple of years. The number was at about 1,000 earlier this year. And so I'm meeting more and more, you know, women, especially across Latin America, who are raising their own funds. And I think this presents an incredible opportunity for founders. Thirdly, there are newish entrants to VC across Latin America, just like in the US. So strategics, family offices, becoming LPs, and also investing directly in companies. So we're asking our founders to really be open-minded when they think about where to get their capital, and to look beyond the traditional VC. And then I think number 4, I just chatted with a Latino founder in Boston, Latino fund manager in Boston last week, who said, you know, I'm investing in Latinos, whether they're in the US or Latin America. So I think this diversity movement across the US is also another big opportunity to leverage for capital.
Absolutely, and specifically with Latinos living, because, you know, the that you have is like, okay, I'm gonna invest also in my community, right? And I'm gonna help on this and on that region. It's like, yeah, we have had some cases about this as well. And I don't know, Maria, would you like to share your thoughts with us?
In Central America, things have been a little different because we don't have any help from the government. In other countries, sometimes we get funding from the government. In this country, we don't have funding. So that's why we usually use private funds, and that's we're putting together VCs and companies. As a matter of fact, all of the things that we've done in the ecosystem are privately owned. And we are looking at always receiving opportunities from outside, from the US. Recently this morning, we received an invitation to present projects for a VC in Israel, which, by the way, it's amazing, okay? Because we love Israelis too, okay? So It's, in a way, we have to look at opportunities outside, but we are also trying to teach the government to invest a little bit in their youngsters, okay, because it's time for them to do something about it, okay. I know in Mexico you're helping you guys a little bit more, but here we need to have. So we've been helping, getting a lot of help exactly from California and New York, especially. We have investors that are very interested in Latin America, and we should take advantage of that, okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm glad that you take this topic on, because I would be pretty happy, ladies, to receive all the proposals that you want to share with me, to share them as well in the World Business Forum. You know, we are looking for proposals, and we have investors from all over the world, and the thing is just to present them as a region, as a country, you know, and yeah, it's what I say to my team the whole time. It's like, for sure, and to my clients as well, it's like, for sure there are money outside. It's just that you need to find a way to get it and to find it, because for sure that there are opportunities. And in Latin America, you know, we are more creative looking for those, because at the end of the day, yes, we don't receive any funding from the government. Maybe we just receive promotion, no? And we really appreciate that. But at the end of the day, you need to be working closely with the VCs, with the angels, you know, in terms of getting opportunities done. And I don't know whether you want to share with us, Claire. Oops. Can you hear me? Because everybody got frozen here.
You cut out.
Ahora sí, you were gone for a little while.
Ahora sí.
Está cortando. So.
Here you go. Yeah. I can hear you. Yeah. Now I hear you. You hear me?
You go on, because I think I'm cutting.
Okay, perfect. No. I was just asking you, Claire, how do you see these? I mean, how do you see the investment or the funds, or how can companies companies accede or get access into this, into new opportunities, right?
Sure. I mean, so I think companies who are looking for VC funding in Latin America, or, you know, looking to expand in Latin America and thus want a Latin American VC fund on their team, I don't think it's that hard, because the ecosystem is so small. There's probably about 30 funds, I should count, based in Latin America. And so, you know, pretty much everyone knows each other. I do think that there is a challenge sometimes for startups who are based in Latin America, who, you know, are not born and bred in those tier 1 ecosystems, to necessarily understand how to go about getting VC funding. And I think that can be really a challenge. So I would encourage, you know, if you're a startup and you're looking for funding, to again try to tap into, if not, you know, just online resources. If not doing that, then going to your local university and looking at the entrepreneurship and accelerator programs there, because I think that's probably the biggest difference that I've seen with the startups we are funding in LATAM versus the ones in the US. A lot of times the ones in the US, particularly those coming from those tier 1 or even tier 2 ecosystems, they know more about the funding path than a lot of the Latin American startups.
Ingrid, can I mention something else?
Of course.
No, I just wanted to thank, because I forgot to thank the American government, okay? You know that the State Department has given us a lot of money to help local communities, and especially in Central America. And I just want to make you guys know for sure that that money is very well being used. We're putting together the hubs there.
Absolutely.
And not for much, because these hubs are small, and the youngsters need very little. So that's one of the things that we really use too, and I think it's worth mentioning, especially because of the audience that we have. Thank you.
No, absolutely. I am, you know, I can say that we have changed lives completely with the funding that we have received from the State Department, specifically women lives. And believe me, I can see when they start the programs and when they finish the programs, they are a totally different one. Because at the end of the day, is they start with like this, oh no, I'm not gonna be enough. No, I'm not gonna be able to do it. And then they change this mindset, and it's like a revolution. And yeah, for sure, we have gotten such a great cases, and it's a big impact, you know, the one that we are receiving with this kind of funding. And it was a point that I wanted also to mention on the comments that Claire was sharing, and it was more about how or which characteristics the companies need to have to consider them investment ready. Because, you know, we can say we have funds, we have VCs, we have this, but then, and we have companies, but those companies are not ready. Even if they have great projects, even if they have, you know, but they need to work on how to sell those projects, right? So which are the main characteristics that you see are the most important, or that they definitely need to have in order to receive or to be able to get funding? Maybe in 3 words, if you can share with us, because our time is running. So maybe Claire, go ahead.
So I would say the one thing is there's a difference between being ready and then wanting to build a venture-backed startup. So I would encourage people to just clarify that those are 2 different things. If you want to build a venture-backed startup, and that is basically a determination of the type of growth you anticipate over time, then you can still get funding at a very early stage. But I think that there has been sort of a misunderstanding in recent years about this idea of thinking that venture-backed startups are better than other startups, and they aren't. It's just a different path in your business. So it's just determining what kinds of growth you want and then seeing if venture capital is right for you.
You asked for a few words. I think for me, vision, curiosity, and dedication.
And dedication.
And from my
What
side,
about you, Maria?
Unfortunately, I come from a banking sector, so I'm very interested in the money part, okay? But still, we think in the innovation, the resilience, and we have a very strong team to help them put together the companies, because we've seen that they sometimes can't do it, okay? So we love to have a good, very profitable, but also resilient company that works, okay? Thank you.
Absolutely, and maybe I will add here quickly, if you can hear me, because I see that sometimes I get also like, okay, they need to be, yes, for sure, creative, but they need to be prepared in terms of numbers. Sometimes they don't know how to present financials. They don't know how to, you know, and at the end of the day, when we listen to the projects, it's like the first thing, okay, how much it's gonna be? I have received investment decks without numbers, and I was like, really? Is this one? So we might need to work on that aspect as well. It's very important when you're talking about getting funds. And yeah, our time is we are running out of time. We have some questions here, so.
Oh, good. I was going to say you still have some time. I was jumping in as the executive director only because I get that prerogative. I had a question for the panel. While Ingrid, if you want to take a look at the Q&A that's at the bottom. In some of our other panels in Global Lava, what I've learned myself is that there's a number of funds or maybe investment groups that specialize. So for example, coming in and out of France, there's a particular fund that specializes in bringing European companies into the United States, and they have a very specific model for helping to grow their CPG. You know, a lot of them are CPGs. Is there, in either direction, whether it's coming from the US into Latin America or these Latin American countries coming to the United States, have you seen pathways, any clear pathways? I mean, Claire, you mentioned there's really only like 30 VCs. Is it really that small of a community of VC in all of Latin America? And then I have that prior question about the specialization.
Who wants to answer, Maria? Or
well, just to comment on our case, we have to use private investors with VCs that are very specific. Okay, we unfortunately haven't reached the big ones, although we are participating in a lot of calls, like you say. It takes time, especially when you come from Central America. Sometimes you don't have the same level as they are expecting, okay? But we're working on it. So I'll ask Claire to answer, please, because we don't know the answer to this one, okay?
I'm not sure if I'm correct on 30. I know that there are 25 female investing partners in Latin America, and that represents 7% of all investing partners. I don't know how many firms, maybe 50, less than 50, something like that. It is a pretty small ecosystem, and there are a few sort of main hubs within that where you can find sort of those top tier firms. I think that it is easier than people anticipate to kind of get looped into the small ecosystem that is here.
in Mexico, it's pretty small as well. So I don't have the number, but I, for the projects and the activities that we have been developed recently, it's not a big market. It's not a big community yet. For example, in the forum, we are just 5 Mexicans in the forum, 5 groups. So yeah, we are working on it, as Maria said. And there are, there are also family companies or family funds, but still we are working on it. The funding that we are receiving, the most of it is from abroad. So yes, and we have some other questions here. For example, are there any developments for indigenous communities or innovation based in indigenous communities thinking Honduras, Oaxaca, Yucatan? I can answer for Oaxaca, and yes, actually we are working directly there with the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, and at the end of the day they go into a pitch competition and they get funding. So I don't know, Honduras and Yucatan, the same. We are also working together and with the government of Yucatan, and they are very proactive on those indigenous communities. Actually, one of the ladies that you are going to see in the global She Trades video, that is the faces of She Trades, is one Mexican and is from Yucatan, and she's a honey producer. But it's amazing because this lady, she's producing a type of honey that is with medicinal sense, with medicinal things. It's like wow, because it's the only type of honey in Mexico that is authentically from Mexico, because it comes from medicinal plants, and it's such an amazing project. And actually it's international actually now, but and it's from Yucatan. But thank you very much for the question. And Honduras, I don't know, Maria, if you have any knowledge about Honduras.
Yes, I already answered there that we have contacts, especially in the big cities, but if they want to have information, I'll be happy to help them with contacts in the universities, because I'm pretty sure they're helping indigenous communities like every other country in Latin America. Thank you.
Thank you. We are a startup, a company, this thing LLC, based in Los Angeles, looking for funding. We are manufacturing natural cosmetic skincare products made with botanical ingredients and natural essential oils. Any recommendation from you?
It's hard to provide a recommendation based on just that introduction alone, but when we see a company that's in this space, we ask a lot of questions around formulation. So beyond the type of ingredients, who created the formula and what is their background? Where is this being produced? What is the distribution strategy? The marketing requirement for getting a new beauty product off the ground requires sort of a cult following from day one. So we would be asking questions around the team and their background, and whether marketing is a key asset on the team. Those are a few starting points.
Yeah, so if you have more questions, you can get directly in contact with Noramay. And what is the landscape for joint ventures between US and Latin companies as a growth vehicle? Is it common? It depends.
One thing we see a lot these days is you see LATAM startups that are then expanding into the US. I think that is very, very common. So on that side, we see a lot of that. And then I think in the other direction, you also see it. We just invested in LA who is coming down to Latin America as well. So you see it in both directions. I think in the Latin America side, a lot of times with the venture-backed startups, it's perhaps more common.
Yes, and actually now it's going to be more common, I guess, you know, with this new relocation policy. Latin America becomes a very attractive region to invest, not just because of the young communities, because the creativity, and also because the costs are very competitive at the end of the day. And then is the USA, Chile, Costa Rica, El Salvador blended, or I can ask them if you want me. No, that's it. I guess. Okay, we got all the questions done, and we have two more here. That is the World Bank and also IFC supportive for trade in destinations highlighted here. Yes, there is a support in terms of trade, but for specific projects, more of them related to infrastructure development, but just there are, and security, but just there are. I don't know, ladies, if you want to add any comment on this? Not really. And is there any interest in distributed computing in the regions highlighted here? In distributed computing, well, we have to consider, or we have to take in mind as well, for example, Mexico is a cluster for computing. Monterrey and Guadalajara, we are very strong in all related to computer development and even in assembling. So, you know, it's hardware and software. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in the other, I also heard that Central America is very competitive on this. We have lead missions in terms of services and IT solutions as well. So, but I don't know if you want to add any other comment on this. I will double check because I'm not pretty sure that, you know, maybe doing a joint venture or maybe getting a partner just to expand operations is going to be the way to get into the market. But like distributing, I'm not pretty sure. China is also very, it will be a very big competition, right? Competitive environment here. But just, I don't know, maybe, yes, oh my God, we ran out of time. I don't know if you have any other question. If you don't have more questions, I guess, ladies, I will just kindly ask you to give the final words to finish on time. Any recommendation to the audience?
No, it's great to be here, and thank you to everyone for sharing kind of this moment.
One recommendation to check out the Latinx VC Twitter handle. There's also a Latinx VC Jobs Twitter handle. These are great places to find other Latino investors across the US who are interested in connecting and growing our numbers.
Well, no, thank you. It was a very great time, and I enjoyed very much sharing with you guys. And at the same time, very happy to be collaborating, and we would look forward to doing joint ventures, which is exactly what we need. Okay, so please keep up my email, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
I was going to thank you, Ingrid. Did you have any final words?
Yes, come to Latin America, invest in Latin America, get these connections, these networks, you know, at the end of the day, you're gonna have, believe me, you're gonna have very good experiences. So yeah, it's just a matter of growing together and looking at us at a region, right? Because at the end of the day, we are a region, we are America in general. and that is the important part for me to share with all of you. So thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you all ladies to share this amazing panel, and yeah, let's keep in touch. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being the moderator today, and for everyone else who's been on the panel. Thank you. I hope you'll join us again, perhaps either as a panelist or as an attendee in January. I think we're going to circle back to Latin America in the Global LAVA format. So we'll be circling back. I know that there's a debate whether or not we should have a Latinx segment of LAVA, and part of my argument is that we really should be inclusive with everyone as much as possible. I love the fact today that we had an all-women panel without any intention to have a woman panel. In fact, it's been an all-woman day today. We had another event earlier at lunchtime, and it was all women as well, although that was intentional. We had a female moderator and 2 female guests on that in cannabis, and so that was great as well. So thank you all. We appreciate you being here. Michael didn't mention earlier, but for any of the startups that are out there, Michael represents IBC, the International Business Accelerator. And so if you're looking for advisement on some of the things that Claire, Noramay, and Maria had mentioned with regard to the things that a lot of startups and entrepreneurs don't know venture, because they just know what they see on HBO. And I think we all know that what we all watched on HBO with Silicon Valley wasn't necessarily exactly the right ways to go about things. But in any case, thank you all, and we hope you'll join us again soon.